Hi everyone. In a car, voice interaction can look simple from the outside. The driver says something naturally, and the system is expected to understand the request and respond in the right way. But once people stop using fixed command and start speaking in a more natural way, the system has to deal with a much harder problem. The user's real intent is often not fully visible in the words. For example, a traditional voice command may sound like this: set the rear cabin temperature to 18 degrees. This sentence is clear because it gives the system a function, a location, and a target value. But this is not how people usually speak in real life. A driver or passenger is more likely to say something like, "It feels hot back there." For the user, this kind of sentence is easier because they do not need to remember the exact function name, the right command format, or the correct control area. They only need to describe what they feel. For the AI system, however, the sentence becomes harder to read because it does not directly say what action should be taken. The system has to infer whether the user is talking about temperature, airflow, seat comfort, or more general passenger experience problem. This is why AI cockpit voice is more complex than traditional voice control. Traditional voice control works best when the user gives a clear instruction. AI cockpit voice has to understand natural language inside a specific cabin context, where the same sentence may point to different possible actions. Let's stay with the sentence: "It feels hot back there." If the system only recognizes the words, it still does not know enough. The sentence tells the system that something feels uncomfortable, but it does not clearly define the user's goal. The users may want the rear temperature lowered, or they may want stronger airflow in the rear area. In another situation, the sentence may simply describe a passenger comfort problem, and the users may expect the system to ask a follow-up question before taking action. This is where cabin context becomes important. The system has to connect the sentence with information such as seat position, passenger presence, current climate settings, recent dialogue, and the functions the vehicle can actually control. So the interaction problem is no longer just speech recognition. Speech recognition answers the question, what words did the user say? Intent understanding asks a harder question. What does the user want the car to do in this situation? That shift changes the design problem. If the system acts too directly, the user may feel the car misunderstood them. If the system asks too many questions, the interaction becomes slow, and the advantage of natural speech disappears. So AI cockpit voice needs a balance between inference and feedback. The system should use context to reduce the user's effort, but it also needs to make it understanding visible enough for the user to trust the next action. This is the real interaction challenge behind natural speech in the car. As users speak more casually, the system has to do more work in the background because the complexity moves from the user's command to the system interpretation.